When I first started my business journey, it was out of curiosity. I was very observant. I observed those that I didn't want to be like and those that I did want to be like, and that created contrast. That created a polarity. It made me realize that I don't want this, I want this, and this is what I'm going to work towards so that I don't end up like this. Because on one side of the coin, there were people that were unfit, unhappy, in a consistent cycle of living from paycheck to paycheck. And to me, it became very clear, not out of judgment, but out of discernment, that that isn't how I want to live my life. And even more so, it seemed that they were unwilling to change, right? And I've noticed a lot of people in my own network or just friends or people that I'm connected with where they experience this very young. It's possible to overcome this limiting belief when you're older, but when you're young, you're more of a rebel. You have more of that rebellious essence in you, and you see someone doing something and you're like, that's stupid. Why would I do that? And then you question it and you work away from that, and that could be good or bad. But in contrast to that, on the other side of the coin, to people that are living unfit, unhappy, unhealthy, whatever it may be, there were people that were living the dream, spreading a great message and educating others and providing value and just inspiring people to be better, to do better with their lives and to get more out of life. And since I was born 26 years ago, I'm 26 now, birthday was just in October. So when I was 26 years old, by the time that I was of the age where I wanted to start learning about things and start pursuing a better future for myself, I did it on social media. I followed people on YouTube, on Instagram, and just other places where I could pursue my interests and learn. And yes, there's always objections here where it's like, yes, the people on social media, there's some that are like living a flashy lifestyle. There are some that are just like putting out a message that is a bit too extreme, or they say that they're happy all the time. And so people think like,
all rich people are unhappy deep down. All of these social media influencers, they're unhappy deep down. They don't know anything. They're just putting on this facade.
And you're like, it's everything is a half truth, right? You're true to an extent. There are some people that way, but to believe that every single person you see online is that way and that all of their success is just nothing, it's just a fart in the wind, that doesn't make any sense at all. That is just the most closed-minded perspective you could ever adopt for yourself. Because why don't you question? That's what curiosity is. Why are you not questioning these things? And I'm not talking about the social media influencers being rich and unhappy. I'm talking about your own limiting beliefs and reactions to those things. Like, oh, they're all unhappy deep down. And it's like, what if there are some that aren't unhappy deep down? What if some are actually extremely happy? Wouldn't I or you have to be in their exact shoes to know 100% for sure? Wouldn't you have to have access to their state of mind that you will never have access to? Therefore, it's not worth worrying about. It's worth working towards it if that's something you want, and not talking about it and not talking bad about it and just throwing other people off a perfectly good path to take in life. So you would have to pursue that, and you would have to experience that lifestyle to know if you're going to be perpetually unhappy, because that just doesn't make sense. You can be happy in any phase of life that you are in. That's what spirituality is all about. Whether you play the external game of riches or not, you can still be happy and enlightened and whatever it may be. And so this curious mindset led me to trying things that I eventually fell in love with. I tried the gym because I was watching people go to the gym. And yes, all of these started out as surface level, shallow pursuits. That's how it starts out for everyone. So I tried the gym because I wanted to get over a breakup and I wanted to get jacked, and I fell in love with it. And eventually I attached new why or new purpose behind it so that it could become a sustainable and meaningful pursuit in my life. And I tried new skills that people were promoting and told me would benefit my life, and I fell in love with learning. And I failed a bunch, I fell off the path, but I eventually came to the point where my knowledge, my skill set, and my experience, that all compounded to the point of where everything started to make sense, and I was able to navigate life and business that much more artfully. And so with a vision for my future and small consistent actions and failures and everything in between, the entire hero's journey, I have built myself into a lifestyle where I can research my interests, I can write about them in a creative way and produce a valuable message that other people get value from. I have full control over how much I work, whether it's 0 hours a day or 4 hours a day or 20 hours a day. I have full control over that, and I can increase or decrease accordingly. And yes, my income can sway sometimes with that, but I have control over it. And then I also have full control over where I can live, and the different things that would normally keep someone chained to a specific location. And I get to build products and services that will not only help me, but will help other people. And now the main downside of this lifestyle is that you are in full control. So however you perceive that, and the uncertainty and discomfort and everything else on the negative side of the coin, not comfort and security, which are usually just illusions and are far more risky, uncomfortable, and uncertain than just pursuing things for yourself and embracing the uncertain nature of life, because that's what it is. But that's the main downside, is that you have to manage and take every aspect of your life into your own control. And so that's the first lesson out of the 11 more that I want to give you that I've learned. These are just the most important lessons that I've learned from building a one-person business, from doing what I want with my life, from talking about my interests and turning myself into a business, which has been the theme for the last 2 videos, right? The first one is the one-person business model, how to productize yourself. The next one is the rise of the value creator, a career path for polymaths and self-improvers. So if you want a broader explanation of the type of business model, like the creator business model, or the digital business model that I'm talking about here, then I would go and watch those. But these are the 11 lessons that have these are what changed everything for me, so I hope they can do the same for you. So the first lesson is that it's all traffic and offers, because business is a game of creating a good product or service and putting it in front of the right people. If you don't have people to view your product or service, you don't have traffic, you don't have social media shares, you're not growing, you don't have an audience, you don't pay for ads, whatever it may be, you don't have media that brings people to your product or service the way you monetize, then nobody's going to buy it. But if you have a bunch of traffic, let's say you build like a theme page on Instagram and have 1 million followers, but none of them are interested, you don't really have a way of monetization, you don't know what you're doing in terms of marketing and sales, then yeah, you're not going to make money either. And the thing here is yes, there's details in like marketing, promotion strategy, funnels, all of those different things that are tactics for the main principle of traffic and offers, right? There's principles and there's tactics. Principles are a must. They come first. It doesn't matter if you study all these marketing funnel and other shit. If you don't have traffic and a good offer, then you're not going to make money. So as an example, and just like a beginner level thing, you have to understand these principles so well and where you're going to apply them, so social media in this case, to the point of where you could do this at zero experience. And here's what I mean by that, is that you could affiliate for a product. If you don't know what an affiliate is, it is someone who gets a commission on selling someone else's product. So if I want to affiliate for, let's say, a web design software like WordPress and Elementor, they have an affiliate program, then I get like 30% of what I sell from them through my link. So let's say I start a Twitter account, right? Here's how I would make money immediately. And let's use it for the case of a different product where I have higher margins. So a digital product, a course where I could usually get 50% commission. Let's say the course is on web design, right? So I go on Twitter, I write a thread on the fundamentals of web design, how to create a good website, right? I put some time into the content, I make it attention grabbing, I make it very valuable, and I plug my affiliate link at the end for 50% commission. And then what I can do is I can pay someone $25 to $50 to retweet that thread, right? This is what social media marketers and social media management agencies do all the time. They pay for other traffic. An audience is traffic. If I want to get more eyes on my content on Instagram, I could go and pay for a story share to get traffic to that offer. My profile would be the offer in this case. And so on Twitter, I write that thread about web design, plug my link at the end, and then I pay, let's say, 4 people. So I pay $100 for 4 retweets from people with 100,000 follower audience. So I have the potential of getting in front of 400,000 people. Then not even taking into account them retweeting it and then their entire audience seeing it, and many of them retweeting it as well and spreading it to their audience, and potentially on that thread I could get, let's say, 1 million impressions, right? Let's say 30% of them make it to the bottom, 300,000 make it to the bottom. Let's say 5% click. 5% of 300,000 is like, I don't know, it's something, okay? A big number. And now let's say 5% of those people convert because the landing page is good. So let's say that I get like 1,000 people to the landing page, 5% convert. I should stop using 5% because I don't understand the actual conversion. 5% of 1,000 is 50. I think it's 50. So if 50 people buy a course that is $99 and I get 50% on that, so $50 times 50 is $2,500. I believe that's $2,500. So from zero experience, from spending a bit of money, I spent $100 on advertising, and then I made $2,500. So $2,400 profit from doing absolutely nothing but understanding traffic and offers. So lesson number 2 is that you need 3 levers. So let's say that you have a brand and you have a product. So you have traffic and you have offers. You need 3 levers. The first one is growth. You have to be growing your brand. If you aren't growing, then you're going to get stuck in the rat race that everyone else is in of trying to consistently reach out to clients, land clients, or just sell via a medium that is not your own traffic source. So you need to continuously grow your brand and your follower count. You do that by writing basic and beginner level content that works, right? It's not like you just go and you write something that you think is basic. The idea has to be validated by the market. If you aren't in the social media game already, you don't understand this, where you're going to have posts that perform better than others' posts. Some may get 10 likes, some may get 1,000. The ones that get 1,000, you take that message and you start writing about that more, so your engagement increases over time, and then you have a consistent cycle of that evergreen content in your creative process, or just how much you post content, and that's how you continuously grow. Then you can sprinkle in other things here and there as well. The second lever that you need is a nurture lever. Because here's the thing, and what a lot of people miss, it's like, oh, I have to sell a make money online product if I want to make money with a course. Oh, I can't sell something that I'm interested in if I want to make money doing what I want to do. And that's just completely false. It's because usually those people saying that are in the survival mindset of, I need to make money immediately. And so they start studying direct response marketing, which is a great skill to have, but it teaches you how to get someone to click and buy in one go. It's not like general marketing. And so with people that are in a less niche area or a less profitable area, you need to dedicate yourself to educating your audience to the point of becoming customers. You don't just attract people that are at the highest levels of awareness and marketing and then just hope that everyone buys. No, you're going to attract beginners, intermediates, advanced people. You're going to attract a global range of people, and you need to filter them into your newsletter so that isn't affected by the algorithm, and you can talk about whatever you want. And then you educate people on your interests and why they're important and how it can impact their lives, and then you plug your product or service in order to help them, and that's where you're going to make the most money. So the third lever is the monetization lever, and that is just an offer or promotions. You have to be consistently promoting yourself. You can't just promote yourself once or write a thread and send people to it and make $2,400 like we talked about earlier. You have to be on a systemized and consistent promotion schedule, right? This is why I personally made the 2-Hour Writer, is to give you my promotion schedule for all of these things and how I create content and how I write and how I do everything that I'm talking about here. If I do not promote my products once a week at the end of my newsletter, which is long enough where that promotion once a week isn't too much, right? It's the perfect amount, and I'm delivering more value than I am promoting, right? So people have the option to buy my products and services, and if I do not get that in front of people's faces every day, every week, every month, then I'm not going to make money. And so when I say systemized, I mean you work it into your content creation process. If I write 3 tweets a day and I want to plug my service or my product under one of them, then I can do that. And so that means every single day I have to go in and I have to plug my product or service so that I can earn an income for myself. And hopefully that product or service is good and valuable, and you are iterating on it and you are making it better according to the feedback that you get from customers. So lesson number 3 is one of my favorites, and that's to question everything. I truly think that it's just unfortunate that the advice of question everything has been talked about so much that the message behind it is diluted, or people don't take it as seriously as they should just because they've been exposed to that so many different times. It's not novel anymore. It's not going to catch your attention and make you think, oh wow, that's so insightful, when this is probably the best skill you can ever form in life, is just questioning everything, especially in business, because everyone's giving out all of this advice that people take as law, and then they don't see results, and then they call it a scam. So questioning is the driver of my success in business. People would yell at me like, oh, you have to niche down. And who said I had to niche down, aside from you guys who have built this thing, mental construction of the exact way to get business success, to the point where no, you absolutely have to pick a niche. And while I am technically niche down, it's in a completely different way than what most people talk about, because business is getting different every single day. And I've adapted to that. And I understand that niching down in the traditional sense as a broad cover-all term is not the answer, because that just sparks so much, it sparks so much confusion. Niche down on what? Brand, content, product, everything that I talk about, my bio. If my bio is too niche that nobody will follow me, or at least enough people to fuel, I don't have the growth lever down so that I can't even monetize, then it doesn't make sense to niche down. So this is a side tangent and for another time. My favorite thing is broad net, or broad catch specific sale. Go based around all of your interests and talk about things in an interesting way on social media, top of funnel, beginner, lower level of awareness, and then funnel them into a specific product which targets a specific problem that you educate people towards, and get people to the point of having that better problem in their life that you can come in and solve. And so another thing is, you have to wait to monetize until you hit 10,000 followers. That's a common piece of advice in the business realm. It's just who said? Who said? I just gave you guys a way to monetize immediately at the start of the video. And then another thing is, you can't make $1 million while working 2 to 4 hours a day. Again, who the fuck said? Just because you can't do it doesn't mean that I can't build something that allows me to do that. So fuck your limiting beliefs right off. Get them out of your head. It's hard, it's a practice, but stay mindful and question every single thing you've been told, especially the things that are preventing you from making progress. Lesson number 4 is to deconstruct everything. Deconstructing complex topics, or just deconstructing everything, is the key to creativity, right? You want to deconstruct a whole into its parts, and then you want to take those parts and turn it into something new, not even necessarily new, but a new perspective of viewing things, or just a new solution, or a new way of thinking about things. And that's the key to it, right? It's consciousness and creativity. If you want more on this, go watch the video. It's how to make a creative income for yourself, I believe. I'll link it. But that's the main thing, is you have to expose yourself to more experience. You need to have accurate perception in the things that you are consuming, the information you're consuming. You need to question it in order to break it down and understand it and gain a holistic perspective of that specific thing. And then from that, you can piece things together and apply it to a different goal, either the goal that you are pursuing in life or the goal that your readers or audience are pursuing in life, right? If I'm studying spirituality and it's talking from the perspective of here's how you become enlightened, how am I going to take those same principles that I deconstructed from studying spirituality and apply them to business? How am I going to help people achieve the goal of making more money with spirituality? That's a challenge. That's a very weird thing to do, but that's what I'm doing. That's where it becomes fun. That's where it becomes new. That's where it becomes novel. That's where you change people's minds around specific things. That's how you become unique, and that's how you create a niche for yourself, is not by getting super specific. It's by studying your interests and applying it to the goal that you are trying to help other people achieve. It doesn't matter how broad or specific those interests are. What matters is the specific and niche goal that you're trying to help people achieve. If people said you need to niche down towards a specific goal that someone is trying to achieve, then I would agree. But even then, you see what I'm saying here? You have to think deeply about these things. I'm creating a whole video about this. I could create an entire something about this, a writing or newsletter or something. But it's even then, how broad or niche or specific is the goal, right? Usually I like broad goals, because if I want to pursue financial freedom and I'm studying the interests of spirituality, philosophy, and business, how am I going to apply those in order to help people get there? So lesson number 5 is don't quit, pivot. Because everyone is worried about shiny object syndrome, but if you're still in pursuit of that same goal, but you pivot along the way, it's not like choosing a different skill is starting over or quitting altogether. It's just pivoting. It's not shiny object syndrome. Because what you need to understand is that you are allowed to start over from a better place of compounded knowledge, right? If I learn web design and I can only make $500 to $1,000 with that singular skill, am I going to prevent myself from learning copywriting, SEO, design, or other things simply because someone else told me that it's shiny object syndrome? If I'm making my service better, or I'm choosing a slightly different path or a slightly different verge from the path than someone else, that's not a bad thing. That's not shiny object syndrome, right? Someone can take this path to reach the end goal, and then you can start taking that path, but then you can pivot and you can take this way, and then you're unique. So lesson number 6 is to copy your way to success, or steal like an artist. And so many people get this wrong. They just plagiarize shit, and they just take something and try to act like they didn't steal it from someone else. Because you have to understand that success is a game of intelligent imitation. Do not act like you are not the product of somebody else or everything in this world. Do not act like since the day you were born that you were taking what other people told you, what you experienced in this world, and what your teachers told you, and everything else to create who you are today. You are literally a copycat. You are literally a clone of a bunch of different stimuli and information that created you when you were young. You could be speaking a completely different language if you were born across the world. You are a copycat by nature. That's what you do. You see something, you interpret it, and you either get rid of it or you adopt it. So I'm throwing up this graphic from an earlier video of intelligent imitation, where you pursue your curiosities and interests. You as a whole, in your perception of the world, is a perspective vessel. You read and interpret information differently from other people. And then what you do is you package up and you distribute those learnings or discoveries to other people from your unique lens in accordance with the goal that you or your audience is trying to achieve. So the best thing you can do is practice writing in your favorite author's voice. Use the topic your favorite account posted as an inspiration. Swipe the problems that your competitor targets in their landing page. Deconstruct why certain posts go viral and whether or not it brought in money. Look at what everyone is selling, meaning it sells, and think about how you can create your own with your unique experience. Or read about an idea that excites you, don't highlight, and write it without looking at the text. Make it your own by recalling what you learned from memory and filling in the blanks with your prior experience. So number 7 is that the most profitable niche is you. So traditional or salesy or sleazy branding, marketing, and sales, that's all coming to an end. We've explored that crevice of reality. It's had its time in the market, and now people are catching on. People are much more wary of the scams and other things that are going about, and the age of authenticity is among us, especially for the people that want to take lead in moving in that direction, right? As I am with the past 2 videos on the one-person business model and the rise of the value creator. So if you want to get ahead of the curve, you need to productize yourself. And you do this by watching the other video on the one-person business model, because that's 40 minutes long, and I don't want to take away from the depth that is provided there by just glancing over it here. But if you want a little sneak peek, here is a graphic of how you can turn your brand and all of that stuff into a cohesive business. Pause and screenshot this if you'd like, but go watch the video if you're truly interested in learning more about that. So lesson number 8 is that self-awareness is key. Absolutely key. So if you're a creator or a marketer or just a solopreneur or business owner in general, you understand the importance of marketing, and you probably understand that marketing is just applied psychology. What you may not understand is that psychology is your mind. You can study it at any time if you are conscious and aware of how your mind interprets things, or that you spend time practicing being self-aware. So if I'm on social media and I want to write better content, then I need to pay attention to how my mind interprets content and how it perceives certain content as valuable or not. So if I'm scrolling social media, right, just as I normally would, I stop the scroll, okay? why did I stop my scroll, right? What caught my attention and how can I use that to catch others' attention? And then I continue reading it. Why am I continuing to read this post? I want others to do that on my posts. So what can I pull from this? And then I like the post. Why did I like the post? I want other people to like my posts. So how can I do that? I retweeted it. Okay. Why did I retweet it and how can I get people to do that for me? I clicked on the profile, clicked follow. I went through to their website. I scrolled down. I read a longer article. I bought their product. How? Why? Question why you do that. Because other people are human beings too. How can you tap into your experience and leverage that to get more people and build a name for yourself? So my tweet from a bit ago sums it up pretty well. If you want to make money, understand why you spend money. And now a lot of people commented and like DM'd me about this. It's like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? It's like, exactly that. Stop and think. Become self-aware. Stop outsourcing questions that you can ask yourself. So lesson number 9 is start, then learn. Information is abundant. And the biggest mistake that people make is letting knowledge outpace execution. Because yes, you can learn anything, but are you learning anything? And so my favorite way to do this is building projects. Just always having a project to build. A side project, a hobby project, a meaningful project, and treating everything as a project. Because a project implies that you are researching in order to add to that project. If this video were a project, then what would I do? I would outline the project, right? I would create somewhere where I can actually flesh it out. So in Notion, I do this. I go, or in Notes, or whatever it may be, and I outline, okay, this is a potential title for the video. This is a potential introduction. This is a potential body. This is a potential conclusion. Here's a little bit of what I want to write about, but now I have to go and research this thing so I can create a credible argument around this. I need to pull quotes from books. I need to watch YouTube videos. I need to do whatever. And now I am intentionally learning and consuming so that I can add to that project and open it in my phone when an idea comes to mind and write it down, right? And so as a beginner, you don't have to be, because experience is always a problem that people struggle with. You don't have to be a content creator from the start. You can be a content curator, right? So if you want to create it's all about positioning and perspective when it comes to this stuff. So if you want to create or write an article or a tweet on, let's say, how to start a one-person business, but you haven't started a one-person business, then what you're going to do is you're going to research everything involving one-person businesses. You're going to create the post, and you're going to make it very clear that, like, you're not giving advice on how you did this. You're giving advice on how other people did it and how you're going to do it. It's all perspective and positioning. So lesson number 10 is to create your own career. This is a very difficult lesson and requires quite a bit of experience to understand, because at the start, if I were to ask you, okay, how would I start an online business with $0? You'd probably give me a few of the traditional examples of freelancing, starting an agency. That's really it. But now, if you were to ask me what I do, like what I actually do, I have no fucking clue. Like, you ask me in the elevator, if someone asked me like, oh, what do you do for work? And I just say, I'm a writer. Like, I just blog. Like, I honestly have no idea. I don't know what to say. It's like, well, I write tweets on self-improvement, and I make videos on business and spirituality. And sometimes I post on Instagram as well. It's like, I could call myself an influencer, but I don't like that word, so I'm not going to call myself that. I could call myself a creator, but that doesn't get the point across. And it's like, I've created, like, I can't just take my business model and be like, yes, this is a career for everyone. Like, I can train everyone into this. This deserves to go into a college curriculum so other people can be trained into it and eventually replace. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to create your own career by following what works, by doing what works, but in your own way, without getting in your own way. And then you continue on and you iterate and you continue and you blow past societal expectations to the point of where you have a holistic view of your business or whatever you're doing. But from the outside, nobody knows what you actually do. Like, people have asked me, what do you actually do? Oh, so you're a YouTuber, but you make $100,000 a month. That doesn't make any sense. Like, and so it's funny. It's just fun to see that people don't understand the whole picture. But that's the thing. Create your own career by just sticking it out and challenging the notion of, like, if there's a problem in your life, like, I don't like working 8 hours a day, then fix it. Create a solution for it. Create solutions for all of the problems in your life until you're living the ideal lifestyle that you want to live. And so a more tangible way of putting this is that you can create your own niche in a sense, right? You can create your own career to the point where I like studying broad interests. I like getting the big picture and distilling those in the form of content. So if I'm studying spirituality and philosophy and neuroscience, then I can create a new category, right? I can take those and create an umbrella category that nobody else knows but me, and then I can start talking around that, called neurophilosophy. So let's say it's neuroscience and philosophy. I'm noting the connections between the two, and I call my niche or career neurophilosophy, or that I'm a neurophilosopher, right? And so then that opens up a bunch of different topics that you can talk about, and that's very niche and specific and something that people haven't heard about before. So it's novel, and you're going to attract more people, and you're going to build authority in the category that you created. So lesson number 11 is lack of experience is not an excuse, because it's incredible what kind of mental gymnastics your ego will go through to convince you what you can't do. We've talked about this already, about having the affiliate link and paying to get eyes on a thread and traffic and offers and making $2,400 and whatever it may be. But lack of experience is not an excuse. It's a limiting belief to think that you don't have enough experience. You don't understand how to position yourself in the market in a way that is authentic and true to yourself, even when you have zero experience. Because if I tell you to start writing online and the 200 benefits that it creates for your life and business, how does your mind object? It'll be like, oh, I'm not good at writing. Oh, that stuff's only for influencers. Oh, I'm just freelancing before I decide to start building an audience. And all of these are more dumb and false than they are true, because it's your mind, it's your ego. The last one is a bit too silly, and it allows us to create an example of what I'm talking about here. So that last one was, I'm just freelancing before I build an audience, because people feel like they don't have experience to start building an audience, so they decide to freelance first. It's like, do you even hear yourself? You're saying you're going to accept $500 to $1,000 when you have no idea what you're doing, but you're afraid to talk about things online from whatever perspective or positioning you want to. From a beginner level like perspective, you're just saying, I'm sharing what I learned. It doesn't make any sense. You're going to accept money rather than just post online and give out free information and gauge the viability of that information for free in the form of an audience, and then build leverage to the point where you have a lot of traffic built up to the point where you don't even have to reach out to people to gain freelancing clients. So here's a little graphic, very simple, very streamlined, but it's not you need experience to start, it's you gain experience by starting. And so everyone, human beings in general, are leaving out the pieces of the picture that would lead to them taking action, right? You're letting your ego close your mind off and laser in on one specific thing and leave out the holistic picture and creative ways of thinking about things in order to pursue your goals full force. That's the problem. Don't let fear rule you and keep you the same. So that is it for this video, my friends. If you want to learn my content creation process and writing, check out the 2-hour writer course. If you want an introduction to that, check out the 7 Days to Genius Ideas free challenge. If you want a community of like-minded individuals that are different from social media and that won't make fun of you for pursuing a better life for yourself, then join Modern Mastery. It has an entire strategy library of everything we talk about here relating to online business and personal development. And then last but not least, the Power Planner. If you want to organize your life and actually understand your vision for the future and the goals that are reverse engineered for that, you can find that for free in the link in the description, and some other things that may interest you. But aside from that, thank you again for watching. I love you guys. Peace.